Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine and an old dirt road, and you're ready to go if you want to. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. Live Music Nation Podcast Festival Edition. I'm your host, Jake Gill. Today, we are with Katey Bourgeois. She is from the Treasure Coast Brew Fest. Thanks for joining us, Katey.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Give us a little background on you, where you grew up, talk a little bit about your family and your career.
Sure. So a little background on me. I grew up here in Stuart, Florida, Palm City specifically, in Martin County. I'm on the Treasure Coast of Florida, which is on the Atlantic side of Florida, halfway between Orlando and Miami. So we're a little cute little waterfront, happiest seaside town on the Atlantic coast of Florida.
All right.
So coming into festivals, my background, I would say I started my career in beer, so to speak, doing promotional marketing for mega brands for beer, spirits, and wine in the early to late 2000s, and then moved into home brewing and sponsored events, and then was asked to start helping with logistics and sponsorships and throwing the Treasure Coast's largest and longest running beer festival, the Treasure Coast Brew Fest.
Perfect. Okay, listeners are going to want to know three things. What does it look like? What does it smell like, meaning food? And what does it sound like, meaning entertainment, etc.? So let's start.
So what it looks like, we have about 2,000 visitors every year. 1,500 of them maximum are our ticketed guests. And those ticketed guests get an unlimited sampling of beers over 50 breweries, and they each bring 3 to 4 flavors or more. So we have 4 hours of unlimited beer sampling. So it looks like a lot of fun. We have sponsors and vendors. We have live music every year. We lock in some area talent. So we have at least one stage with live entertainment. And the smells you could attribute to our food trucks. So we actually invite food trucks onto the property, onto the park area. And we typically like to have 5 to 10 food trucks, and they sell out every year. And every year it's a little different. We have all sorts of cuisine, from barbecue to American fare to Mexican to Greek. We have all sorts of great food trucks that join us. And on the music side, we've kind of stayed on the sort of like the Florida. I guess I'm not sure how they describe themselves, but sort of like one-man band. Very Florida centric, blues, grassy, kind of raspy type of openers, and then usually a full band, multi-piece band that plays original music and also hits that everybody can enjoy. And we actually do get people engaged in the music side and the food side, but they're really there for the beer sampling, and the activities that we offer.
Perfect. What started this event?
Oh gosh, so this event started probably 13 or 14 years ago. It originated as the Treasure Coast Beer Festival. Those guys ran it for 10 years. They invited me on to help bring sponsorships in. It is essentially a fundraiser. So now, after the 10 years with those guys, the Treasure Coast Brewmasters, which is the homebrew club, which we're involved in, has taken it over and rebranded it to the Brew Fest. It's still sort of the same idea. It is a 100% fundraiser. No one gets paid. We're all volunteers. And we give the proceeds from ticket sales and sponsorships and on-site sales that day to 3 local charities. So we're blessed to be able to, last year we were able to donate $25,000 to 3 local charities based on our ticket sales and our sponsorship levels. So that we're really proud of that.
In your opinion, in your vow, what is the most important part of getting people together on a regular basis?
The most important part of getting people together on a regular basis, well, I mean, I'm very much a proponent for monthly meetings, and in the professional world, and also in the social world. You got to connect with people. I think we all learned during the pandemic that we have to connect. We need to be connected to people. It helps us all remain in a I would say a lighter mood, and you learn and grow when you're around other people, regardless if it's in a professional or a social setting. I think that you've got to meet new people, you've got to have new experiences, taste new things, smell new things, meet new people, and hear new music. That's part of the brain growth. They say new music expands your mind.
Yeah, that's a great. I saw a study just a couple weeks ago, and suicide and depression rates half in people who regularly socially engage at least once a week.
Yeah,
That's huge.
yeah,
As
agreed.
it goes through there. Okay, couple fun questions, Katey, because we tour nationally, we perform all over the U.S. We meet a lot of people, but I always like to ask this question because it's sometimes it's regional and sometimes it's just personal. But for you, best concert you've ever seen, who would you say?
Oh, I have like three, I think, top three.
I
Uh,
cannot imagine a female saying I have three when I ask for one.
well, they're all equally, I think, had an impact on me, but in different ways. So I would
And you
say
don't want to
seeing,
hurt their feelings, so you got to
yeah,
talk
and of
about
course,
all three
you
of
got to be fair, right? You got to be fair. Good feng shui. It comes in threes in a good way. I would say probably the first thing that comes to mind is probably seeing Lincoln Park in
them.
South Florida, and an indoor arena. It was huge, and we were on the floor pretty close to the stage, and you felt it when Chester was belting it out. You felt it, and sadly he's not with us anymore. And then I had an awesome experience going to see Depeche Mode in the
Okay.
early 2000s, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. And then even before that, visually, the probably the most impressive show that I've seen was the Chemical Brothers
Oh,
down at
wow.
a club years ago. But that kind of got me into, you know, experiencing the music rather than just sort of being there on the dance floor and celebrating that you're there with friends or whatever, but
Perfect.
getting into the music.
Okay, so dead or alive, you could see one musical act. Who would you want to see?
Oh, um, it's a great question. I didn't get to see Prince.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that would be
Yeah.
fantastic. Absolutely. Okay. I've been a little selfish with the questions. I've been asking all the questions. This is a segment of the show. You get to ask me a question. Katie, what would you ask me?
So, I guess I would pose a similar question to you. What venue or musical entity or experience really sort of shaped your musical influence?
So one of the events that I remember seeing Eric Church in a small club before he maybe had his first number one, but it wasn't very far into his career. That was a pretty memorable night for me. So that would probably be the one. That'd probably be the one that I would say. Yeah. Eric Church, just new, brand new, newly discovered as you go through there. And actually, he was discovered. He just was newly signed. So it's all good. Katie, how do people find out more about the Brewfest and some of the other events that you have going on?
The Treasure Coast Brewfest, Treasure Coast Brewfest, tcbrewfest.com. You can find us on all the socials. Just look for us. We are constantly adding breweries we work on the Treasure Coast Brewfest for 6 months. It's just 4 hours with two bands and 10 trucks and sponsors and vendors. And it really truly takes 6 months of volunteer work. The Treasure Coast Brewfest is held at the Memorial Park in downtown Stewart the weekend after Veterans Day. So we have a very patriotic nod, and we try to keep it fresh and fun every year. This year, we're actually, you heard it here first, we're going to have a silent disco. So
Oh,
not only will
wow.
we have live music, but we'll have some fun pre-recorded, music from all sorts of hits. And we call it a silent disco. So there'll be three channels of music that people can boogie on down to from different genres, and in addition to live music. So music is really a big thing for us, and also karaoke as well. We have a karaoke vendor that comes in so people can dance, they can sing, or they can dance and sing, depending on what they're
Perfect.
into.
Well, Katie, thank you for supporting music. We appreciate that greatly. I appreciate you.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk about Treasure Coast Brewfest and to meet you.
You're welcome. Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine and an old dirt road. Are you ready to go if you want to?